Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jo here. I hope you're all well, and for today's project I'm putting together one of the miniature kits from Aliexpress. Now this is going to go up in two parts. The first part will be tonight and then the second part will be on Wednesday, so not too long to wait for the second part. It comes with everything that you need. They're in bags, all the pieces, and you also get an instruction book as well, and each bag is labeled and it tells you what each piece is in the bag with the dimensions of the piece as well. And then you get the instructions showing you how to build everything step by step. I'm filming at a different angle today because everything is very small. I wanted to get you up close so you could see what I was doing. And I'm also going to start at the back of the book and put the house together first. Everything comes on a piece of paper like this that you cut out. I'm only going to show you this step once. So everything that I make from now on will be that I've cut out and already got it all ready to put it together. So this is going to start with the walls and the floor. I'm going to cut all that out and then we can start. So I'm sticking the wallpaper first to the inside of the house. I'm just using PVA glue. There is no glue provided in the pack or the kit. And I'm just going to glue that in place. I've cut it all out and cut the window out. And I'm going to do the same with the other wall. And I'm going to do the same with the flooring as well. Once the paper is in place, I'm going to attach the windows on the inside and just using a little bit of Yoo-hoo glue. And then to finish the outside of the windows, there is a canopy at the top and a plant box at the bottom of the window. So I need to make two of each of them, and I'm just using the template and gluing it to the fabric provided. Once it's dry, I'll cut this out. And then following the guidelines on the back of the template, I'm just going to fold where needed and then glue everything in place. Once it's dry, I can attach it to the top of the window frame, and then I can use the template provided in the box to cut out and make the little window boxes. Just to add some decoration on the front, there's some corrugated card. And then using the plant that's provided, you cut this into small sections to the length that it tells you in the instructions. And it says that you can get about 8 in each of the plant boxes. I could only manage 6. And then for the flowers, you get these little red beads. They're not beads, it's like little bits of red polystyrene, and you just attach these to the top of the plant for the flowers. I found that using tweezers in this project was a lot easier than trying to pick stuff up with my hands. Everything is so tiny, so I will be using my tweezers a lot. And once I've got all my plants in the box, I can glue these to the bottom of the window frames. The next part is just gluing in the back and the two sides of the house, and it's marked on the paper where you need to glue and pop these pieces. So there's the back piece, there's the doorway, and then there is the other wall section as well. Now we can start to work on the stuff for the inside. So I'm going to start with the bed, and I'm just adding the pieces of wood to the top of the ends of the bed. Once they're dry and in place, I'm going to attach these to the frame of the bed. And then for the mattress, you get a template for a cardboard box. I'm going to glue this together and then glue that to the base of the frame of the bed. Using the box as some extra support, I'm just adding a little bit of glue to glue the ends of the bed to. And once everything's nice and dry and secure, I can start to do the bedding. So using the fabric that's cut to the size that's needed, I'm just adding a little bit of lace detail to the edge. Then I just glued this in place to make it just stay a little bit nice and neater. And then using the stripe fabric provided, I've hemmed the top of it using some glue. And again, I'm adding the lace detail. And I also glued this in place on the bed as well. I'm not going to be moving any of the pieces, so I'm going to glue it all down. Then we can get onto the pillows. So for the pillow and the two cushions, I can honestly say this is the most fiddliest thing I've ever done. There is supposed to be a miniature clip to help keep the fabric together while it's drying, and unfortunately it wasn't in my pack. It was the only thing that was missing. So I had to do this by just using my hands. But what I had to do was, here you have to fold it inwards and then glue the two pieces together to get a nice edge. It took me forever to fold this fabric inwards. I'm going to show you how I did it once, like so, and then you just glue it and pop it in place. But I did the others off camera because it took so long. It took me about an hour and a half to do the 3 cushions that I needed. So once the edge is in place and it's nice and neat, you can just add the stuff in, and then to finish it off you then fold in the ends again and then glue that in place. To finish off the pillow, I'm just adding a little bit of lace detail over the front. I'm gluing it at the back to start it off, then wrapping it around the front and then securing it with a little bit more glue at the back at the other side. And then have to make 2 other pillows. I have to make a small blue one in exactly the same way that I've just done the pillow, and then a small white one which is just plain, there's no lace on it. So at the bottom of the bed there's a little cabinet, and I'm going to make all the bits that goes on the cabinet first. But I've taken a piece of wire, folded it in half. Now I need to wind this around to create the handle for a trowel. And to finish it off you just glue the 2 pieces of grey paper that's provided and you glue them in place and you've got a little trowel. There are quite a few books in and around this little miniature, and I'm going to show how to make one and then I'll do the rest off camera. But you take the template that's provided and fold it down the lines where it's marked, and then you cut out the inside of the book, and all you do is fold it in a concertina, and then you glue this on the inside of the book to the back and the front. There is also some little plant pots, and there's 3 of them that needs plants. So I've just cut the foliage provided as indicated in the instructions, and I'm just gluing them in place into the little plant pots. For one of the plant pots, it's just a plain green bush. And then for the other 2, one has a little white flower in the center, and then the other one has some little purple flowers and some white foliage as well. So I'm just popping in the purple flowers and then cutting off the sections that I need for the white bits to go around the purple flowers. So for the little cabinet at the bottom of the bed, I'm just going to glue the 2 sides to the base of it. And then I'm going to add the top of the cabinet in place. And then to finish it off using a piece of the paper, I'm just going to glue that in the back. Now for the handles, you have to cut out the smallest little pieces of brown card. I've never had to cut anything out this small, and it was quite a challenge, and there's a fair few of them throughout the project. So like everything else, I'll show you once and then I don't have to keep showing you again, but you just glue them in place. And then we can add all the bits. So I'm adding a couple of the empty plant pots. Then I'm gluing in the books in place. Then adding my little plant pot. And to finish off the little trowel. And then the last thing that's needed for this little unit is some little pieces of paper that are folded to make little leaflets, and they're just glued in place at the end. For the next cabinet, which has quite a lot of stuff in, I thought I'd make the cabinet first. So I'm taking the front of the cabinet and gluing in the paper. Then adding these to the base of the cabinet. Adding the two sides. And then finishing off with the top of the cabinet. So there's a little shelf that sits at the top of the cabinet, and I'm just adding the sides in place, and then I'm going to add the white top of the shelf. And then the last thing to do on the actual cabinet is the door handles. So I'm going to take two small pieces of wire, these are 1 centimetre in length, and bend them into a handle shape. And then I'm going to glue these small pieces of brown paper in place and then add the handles. I've never done this before, and I really like the effect that it's give, and I will definitely be using this in future craft videos for my miniatures. And there is quite a few things that I've learned while I'm putting this together that will help me for my future projects, so I'm really happy about that. So that's the cabinet done, and we can start to work on the accessories. So for the accessories on the cabinet, there's a little freestanding plate or frame, and I've just taken a piece of black paper and rolled it up into a circle. And then you just glue in the picture into the frame or bead that's provided, and then you glue the little circle bit of card or paper that you've just rolled up, and that's the stand for the back. There is also some folded fabric underneath this picture, and all you do is take one piece of each of the 3 different fabrics, fold it in half and glue in place, and then you fold that again, and then we stack them and attach them together with a piece of fabric to make little bundles of fabrics. I'm not too sure if it's just fabric or if it's supposed to be like towels or face cloths, but it looks super cute. Nearly everything in this looks super cute. It's so small, and yeah, I'm really glad that I actually got one and put it together. And I have got another 2. So I'm not too sure if anybody wants to see me put another one of these together or not. So if you do, can you let me know in the comments, and I will definitely film them for you if there's anybody that's interested. Once that's done, I'm moving on to the next object, which is a little tub, and just using the paper provided, rolling it up and gluing it in place. And then you get 2 little gold press studs, and you put one at the bottom for the base and then one at the top for the lid. So there's a little like wire basket on the shelf, and I've just taken the plastic and folded it where it's needed to be folded. And now I'm going to add this black mesh to the inside by gluing it to all the sides and then cutting off the excess. And then this was one of the other fiddly things that I had to do besides the cushion. There is little pieces of black paper stuck around the top of the basket to give the edge of the basket. And if I was doing this again, I'd totally do this a different way. I would cut more than I needed and fold it then, and then cut off what the excess, instead of cutting it to size and then trying to fold it, because this was really small and really fiddly to fold. So that's my top tip. That's something I've learned, and I'll definitely keep that in mind when I'm putting more of these kits together. Once the basket is done, there's some little pieces of paper that are rolled up and then secured with some other paper. And then that's it. We can add everything to the cabinet. So I've glued the basket in place. Then I'm adding the little towels that we've just made, or pieces of fabric. There's a couple of books. The little pot. And a little plate. And then that's cabinet 2 done. Above this cabinet there's a little shelf, so I'm just gluing the 4 pieces together, so the base and then the 2 sides and then the top section, and then there's just a couple of books on this shelf and a little family sign, which is just a piece of paper that's glued onto some folded card, and I'm going to glue all that in place, ready for putting into the house at the end of the project. Like so. And then the last cabinet that I'm going to make for this video is the bedside table, and I'm just gluing on the drawer at the front of the cabinet, then adding the 2 sides, and then lastly the shelf at the bottom. There's 2 present boxes or hat boxes, so I'm using the corrugated card and folding this around the base of the box, and then just gluing that in place. Then adding the decorated paper. There's one green one and one like a yellowish brownish colour. Then adding a piece of grey paper to the top for the lid. And then to finish off, just adding a section of some grey paper. Everything that I've made, I will definitely remember for future projects. There's loads of things that I would like to use again in different projects. When they're ready, I've just glued them 2 together. And then done the handle on the cabinet and then glue the boxes in place. The last few things for the bedside table is to glue the paper on the top, create the little hairband, add another book, and attach the hairband on top of the book. And then the last thing I'm going to do for this video is using a long bead. I'm going to add some of the purple flowers and some of the gold ones, and then finish off with some of the white foliage provided. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. So I will be back on Wednesday with part 2. So until then, take care and I'll see you then.